Good afternoon. I'm Anusha Roy. Thank you so much for joining us at noon. 12 jurors are still debating what will happen to a former Clear Creek County deputy who shot and killed a young man experiencing a mental health crisis. Andrew Buan is facing charges for second-degree murder in the death of Christian Glass. 9 News reporter Steve Stager first broke this story and has been following this trial now. Steve, any updates from the jury? Where do they stand right now?
You know, Anusha, it's anyone's guess right now. It was about 24 hours ago that you and I were talking about the jury initially getting this case. They got it about noon yesterday, so you figure with a lunch break now that they've probably been at their deliberations for about 7 hours after they left the courthouse yesterday around 6 o'clock. And we have yet to hear from them. You know, normally we'll hear from a jury who may have a question for the parties in a case. We haven't heard from the jury yet, though it's been interesting this morning. We've been watching as both the prosecution and the defense, including Andrew Buan, have been in and out of the courtroom here. They've had 2 closed-door meetings with the judge in this case. We've been trying to clarify with the court to try to figure out if anything's going on. We'll let you know if we hear anything back, but they've been behind closed doors. In closing arguments yesterday, prosecutors said that Andrew Buan was unjustified during that entire call back in June of 2022 when he broke into Christian Glass's car, shot him with beanbag rounds, tased him, and then shot him 5 times in the chest after he thought he made a threatening motion toward an officer who was by the side of the car. In their closing arguments, the defense argued that there was a threat to the chief of the Georgetown Police's life, and that's why Andrew Buan fired that shot, and that Andrew Buan was just doing his job as a police officer and getting Christian Glass out of the car on a suspected DUI call. So that's what the jury's deliberating right now. Again, we have not heard from the jury yet, other than yesterday at 6 o'clock when the judge told them that they could go home and don't discuss this case with anyone when they did. It'll be interesting to see as the day moves on if the jury has any questions. They do have all the copies of the body camera video in this case. So you think about all the officers who were on scene that night. They have those videos back in the jury room. And yesterday during closing arguments, both sides told them to watch the videos, watch the interviews after the case. There's a lot of that evidence in this case, so you imagine they're taking their time. They're very thorough. This jury has asked questions after almost every witness, showing that they've been pretty engaged in this case. So for now, we'll wait out the jury. We are in Georgetown. Steve Stager, 9 News.
All right. We appreciate you stepping away from court to give us that update. We'll be checking in with you throughout the day. Thanks so much, Steve. 2 schools are now back to normal in Erie after a student got to school this morning and then reported a suspicious man who possibly had a handgun. This happened around 10 o'clock this morning in the area of East County Line Road and Moffett Street. Both Erie Middle and Elementary schools were put into a secure status while officers were searching in the area. At this point, investigators say they have not found anyone matching the description of that suspect so far. They are asking, however, anyone with information to call the number on your screen. Want to give you a live look outside at Lookout Mountain. What a spectacular day we have right now. No complaints, but the clouds are starting to roll in. We know things are going to be changing pretty dramatically for us. We've got Keely Chalmers here today, and you are tracking thunderstorms that people need to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, things certainly changing fairly dramatically as we head into the afternoon and the evening hours. So get outside, enjoy this gorgeous weather here in the 9 News backyard. Light winds, lots of sunshine, temperatures warming up. Let's go ahead and give you a bird's eye view of downtown Denver, and really can't even see a cloud in the sky out there. It is fantastic. We're at 62 degrees out at DIA right now, 60s across much of the Northeast. Sterling already up to 70 degrees. We're at 75 in Lyman, 78 in Pueblo. Head out to Lamar, 83 degrees already, 50s and 60s up there in the mountains. So again, taking a look at our HD Doppler radar, we still have high pressure in place for the plains. So the I-25 corridor out to the east, we are looking sunny this morning. Starting to see that unsettled weather, though, move in across the western plains. Seeing thunderstorm activity up there in Moffett County, starting to move into Mesa County as well. And this activity will gradually push off to the east, giving us a threat for thunderstorms pretty much statewide. Now you head up to the northeast corner of the state. That's where the threat for severe weather increases. And when we say severe weather, we're talking about those thunderstorms that entail large hail, damaging winds, and possibly some tornadoes. As for highs today, we are going to climb up into the upper 70s up there in the northeast corner of the state. Upper 80s down across the southeast corner of the state, flirting with 90 in Lamar. 77 your forecast high here in the metro area. Again, increasing clouds. Those winds are going to increase as well. As for the timeline of when we could start to see those showers, I'm thinking 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Those spotty scattered showers move in, but we do have a break in the rain. In fact, we have some very nice weather and sunshine in our extended forecast. We'll talk about when that will happen coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, we really appreciate it. Thanks, Keely. Nearly 4 years after Suzanne Morphe was last seen, we're going to soon learn how she passed away. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation says her autopsy report could be released in the next couple of days. Morphe was from the Salida area and was reported missing on Mother's Day back in 2020. Police say her husband, Barry Morphe, was the last person to see her alive. He was originally charged in the case, but those charges were dropped in April of 2022. Investigators found her remains in September of last year. It was near the town of Moffett in southern Colorado. Denver police said scammers are hopping onto the cryptocurrency bandwagon to take your money. Police say folks are now getting calls from scammers claiming they have an outstanding warrant and need to pay to get that warrant cleared. The scammers are now asking people, though, to pay using cryptocurrency ATMs instead of wire transfers or gift cards. Police say some of the scammers are even pretending to be Denver officers. Just know that law enforcement never clears warrants or bonds on the phone, and warrants are not paid for over the phone with gift cards or ATM deposits, and definitely not cryptocurrency deposits either. CDOT also warning about another scam targeting drivers using our toll roads. Fake texts say that they have outstanding toll bills. CDOT sent out a warning about those scammers trying to get people's drivers' personal information and their credit card numbers. So far, there are no reports of that scam happening here in Colorado. However, the FBI says they've tracked more than 2,000 toll road scams from at least 3 states. If you happen to get one of these texts, you can report it to the Internet Crime Complaint Center. This week, Denver City Council gave the green light to start exploring the idea of on-site childcare at DIA. This is Denver's largest employer and a major revenue generator for the state. If it actually happens, it could also be a major test for something that parents have long wished for. The feasibility study will be looking at several childcare options, including daycare at the airport, stipends, and even 24/7 care. This would be for 40,000 people working there, includes city employees, contractors, airlines, working in the rental cars, concessions, all of it. Of course, there are still major questions like how much it would cost families and how to staff it. But at the same time, the airport said that they're growing and they want to support women in the workforce as well as parents.
If we did have on-site childcare when I had started with my employment at DEN, it would have benefited me greatly. My husband stayed out of work for about 11 months when we first moved to Colorado because we could not find childcare at all in this region. I was on 27 wait lists at one point.
Not only that, this map that we were going to show you, hopefully to show you the childcare desert in the metro area that's shaded in orange, it actually ends up covering half of the Denver, Aurora, Lakewood metro area. Those are all considered childcare deserts, including the airport. Childcare shortages add up to $2.7 billion in economic costs in just 1 year in Colorado. The study itself will last 2 to 3 years. City Council okayed spending $800,000 on the study itself. We are just hours away from the NFL draft in Detroit. All eyes will be on Broncos leadership to see what the team is going to do. The Broncos have been very busy this week. Aside from the new uniforms, the team picked up the 5th-year option on cornerback Patrick Surtain. They also acquired 2 new players, a veteran cornerback Levi Wallace and the big trade for former New York Jets QB Zach Wilson. But with the addition of Wilson, is QB still on the table? Insider Mike Kliss thinks the answer is yes.
Got to get a quarterback. That's it. You know, edge rusher, you know, yeah, they need a tight end. Yeah, they need a push from inside on the defensive line. Yeah, got to get a quarterback somehow, some way.
And here's the full list of the picks heading into the draft. 8 total, but that could change with potential trades. The draft is set to start at 6 o'clock tonight. We will have more on the new Broncos selections tonight at 9 News at 9 and 10.